July 1st needs to be called National Hustle Day because everybody's hustle, for the most part, is now legal, with college players being allowed to profit off their name, image, and likeness. We're going to talk about that briefly in just a minute. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Jay here with Unfair Sports, where we take a pensive approach to the sports conversation. And on this video, we're going to talk about name, image, and likeness. So, speaking of sharing, Jimmy, some great news came down early last week that I was going to try to talk about at the end of the week, but got to the holiday weekend, and it just didn't work out the way things were going to. So, we'll play catch up with that. The NCAA has basically temporarily paused all rules around name, image, and likeness eligibility. So now athletes can go out, they can sign contracts, or endorsement deals and all that stuff for the name, image, and likeness. And there's a few things with that I feel like is big. But the first thing I do want to say is I'm going to put out a petition today that we call July 1st National Hustle Day. It is the day where all the hustlers got to do the things that they need to do with the side gigs, mainly doing stuff that didn't involve them actually performing the game. Okay. Bobby Bonilla Day is July 1st of every year, where he gets his, $1.185 million from the Mets every single year up until like 2035 because of a deferred payments that he had that went into a annuity and has definitely blossomed in finances. July 1st is when coaches get their buyouts at collegiate football programs. So typically coaches start to get those payments annually around July 1 for them not to coach the team that they were at. So because of that, now college athletes get to actually earn money on themselves, which is great and is well deserved. Now, let me dive into the seriousness behind this, because I have, of course, a substantial amount of opinions, and I'm probably going to go even more in depth on another video later. But I did want to talk to you about this. Yeah. Is it fair to say, before I dive deeper, and I'll do that as I talk more through this, is it fair or unfair that the new NIL rules will change the game, change college sports forever in a bad way?
In a bad way? I would say it's unfair to say that, because I think ultimately it will change it in a good way. It will change it in a more fair and equitable way, based upon, how we've known just for decades how much these athletes contribute to the revenue that they bring in for these schools. So I think that it's fair. It's fair to say that. However, I think it's unfair.
It's unfair to say that it's going to ruin sports.
But at the same time, it's going to appear that way probably at the very beginning, perhaps, because there are some traps to this. When I did my solo show, where I talk about this on the Sha'Carri Richardson episode, about there being benefits and costs to that. Should I mention that?
Yeah.
So for those of you who didn't get a chance to listen to it, so I said that, all right, the benefits of this are, first of all, it gives these college athletes business experience in terms of being able to negotiate these deals, or as a part of a collective agency, parents, whoever they have with them, and that will help them later on as they go on to negotiate professional deals and be able to spot the right deals. I said the second thing was for college basketball, and for individuals like me who grew up where you had these great college basketball players and great college basketball teams who you could expect to see another season or maybe even 2 seasons after that. I think we may see a little more of that, of maybe fewer one and dones, because these college athletes enjoy the college life. They perform well, but they're also able to make money. They're not broke. So it's like, why don't I stay another year
and get better
and continue this experience? So I think we may see a little more of that. You're still going to have your one and doners, because if you have another Zion, go to the pros. Don't stay just because you can make money off your likeness.
And that's for now, because eventually the NBA is going to change that rule where 18-years can come back in. At this point, it may as well.
Right. And then thirdly, I think that for high school blue chip athletes who are 14 and 15 right now, they get to watch the next 2 to 3 years how all this plays out. They get to see the bugs get worked out of the system. They get to see the traps that some of the athletes may fall into. They can learn from that. So then when it's their time to become that superstar college athlete, they'll have all of this knowledge and experience over the last few years in terms of how to negotiate these deals and what to look for.
Yep.
So those are the benefits. Cost, however, is that some of them probably have already signed some bad deals. And they don't know that they're bad quite yet.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a problem because a lot of those deals, when they're going to learn what it means, breach of contract in terms of being bound to this and this having some control over what you do professionally and financially, that's going to happen. That's just part of what has to happen in order to get to where we want to be. Second is, for that same reason, some of those deals are going to conflict with deals that they would rather have as a professional. Maybe you start out, let's say, for instance, in college, having some sort of sponsorship deal with Adidas. You get to the pros, you want to be a part of Team Nike. Well, you can't because you signed this 15-year deal with Adidas, and now that's a conflict. Lastly, and this is more on the NCAA, I think that part of the reason why the NCAA did this is because they feel like by allowing players to make money off of name, image, and likeness, that's going to free them from having to actually pay the players out of the revenue that they get. And it's not going to, because the players didn't stop thinking they deserve a piece of that revenue just because they're able to make money off of themselves. So the NCAA, who rarely gets anything right, thinks that if we give them this battle, we'll win the war. You're not going to win the war because they're still going to want the money that they deserve in a fair, equitable, and regulated type of way. So that's going to be a huge issue when they realize that. They're going to have fun making this money over the next 2 to 3 to 4 years. Then they're going to realize, probably sooner rather than later, we should be making more if we were getting the real money that we deserve, the money that we help bring in off of our blood, sweat, and tears. So that's still going to be a fight to be fought.
So I'm going to address two of those that you mentioned on the bad portion of it. I want to make sure that everyone's clear when it comes to that.
Okay.
They can't sign a 15-year deal with like Adidas.
Hyperbole.
No. What I'm saying is like the way that the NIL is set up.
Yeah.
It's only college. It cannot bleed into professional at all.
Really?
Period.
Okay.
Exactly. That's one of the regulations they added in there is to prevent that. Because like you said, you made the perfect point of if they sign something here and then they're stuck to it going forward, they've insulated it to where it's only college stuff related. Period. Okay. To help protect against that portion of it, which I think that's probably the one safeguard they did right. That's good. If anything. Yeah. The second portion of it, the NCAA and their money, and not actually paying the players, but letting them make money off the NIL. So the Supreme Court basically just threw a big wrench in the NCAA's idea that they're going to get away with that.
Okay.
Because Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh basically said that what the NCAA is doing is antitrust. So be prepared for antitrust lawsuits. And that's just me saying it. I'm paraphrasing what he's basically stated. But if you read the argument, the dissent, this opens the door for antitrust lawsuits, and the NCAA know it's coming. So they're trying to prepare themselves for the fact that they have opened the door to get sued, because just about every single justice, which is the craziest thing, is that there was a 9-0 decision. They all basically said that it doesn't make any sense that everything around the NCAA has made more money, but the players are still kept broke. Like, why is it that coaches' salaries are going up? Why are you guys spending more money on facilities and all of this stuff, but the players still don't have a chance to make money, even off just not only the name, image, and likeness, but all the revenue that every school is bringing in? Why can't they get paid?
Right.
So that is coming probably within the next 6 months. I'm not even going to give it that long. That case is going to be coming to the Supreme Court very soon. And so I want to address the rest of those. And you're right. With your lineup, you're making a whole bunch of sense in things to pay attention to when it comes to this NIL. The players later are going to learn a lot from what they're doing today. You're exactly right on that. Like I said, luckily, a lot of this stuff is set to where it's only collegiately, so they don't have to worry about it bleeding over too much. But this is the one thing that I think was the dopest thing of all of it, is that, and this is the thing that pissed me off the most about NIL and why they should have been able to do NIL to begin with. I had to find the article. I lost it. It was Dan Murphy from ESPN that wrote, and he talked about there was 2 players that signed NIL deals that had absolutely nothing to do with their sport. One of them signed one for like piano lessons. Like he's giving out lessons in actually it's cello. I'm sorry. He was giving out lessons in cello, and another athlete was she was giving lessons in something else that had nothing to do with her actual sport. And I'm just like, that's what they should be able to do with their free time. Why can't they spend their free time making money? You know, and of course, the thing you get to think about is, okay, what about boosters and all this stuff? If you want to be honest, if boosters want to pay these people to do stuff, let them. Who cares? Why? Because boosters are already influencing everything else in college football.
Right.
Alabama's got a $600 million thing going on with boosters and donations to where they can upgrade their facilities. LSU just got like 130 something million to add to their football facilities. What about North Texas? What about the teams in the Sun Belt? What about the MAC? Do they have that kind of money to do that? No. Does TU, University of Tulsa, do they have that? What about Tulane? Do they get that stuff from? No, they don't. They're already at a disadvantage when it comes to money.
Right.
What does it freaking matter if you pay the players? Because think about it. You can have one booster that will be willing to drop big dollars on a 5-star player to get him to come to Tulane or get him to go over to a small school, Boise State, and continue to grow that. If you get a Wyoming, whatever, if you get a booster that's willing to drop big money to bring a guy there and then say, hey, you could be the man in this area or the woman in this area and we can get you all the endorsement deals you want. What's wrong with spreading the wealth around the country? Alabama players are not going to be able to do everything. The boosters aren't going to be able to pay every single player if they're not already paying them. There's limits to where all this money is going to stretch out to. And because of that, these NIL deals are going to be so great for the future because you're going to see a lot more talent spread out. You're not going to see 5 guys at Kentucky with NIL deals and they're all starters. You're going to see 1 or 2 of them go somewhere else where they can really be the man, then and utilize their social media following and become a big deal. And that's basically what a lot of these players have done. Most of these players have accumulated a following just because they're interesting people and people like following them. Like the Twins that were at the Boost Mobile contract deal. They were all over the billboards and everything in New York right after this. Spencer Rattler had himself his logo made and he got a Raising Cane's contract. So now you know he has the sauce because the only way you can eat Raising Cane's is with the sauce. Going through the list, there's so many great deals that are put together. Masterpiece Son supposedly got a $2 million deal, mainly off the name of his pop. What's wrong with that? There's nothing. It shouldn't be a problem with that. You know, he should be able to make money off the fact that he is a Miller. He is part of the Master P No Limit family that existed, in yesteryear. Everyone should have that opportunity, and I love the fact that that's the direction that we're going with this NIL. So, pretty amped. Let's see what happens.